Hi, so this is my response for the athletic overtraining and burnout. First question is, when did you burn out? When I was playing collegiately, I burnt out in December. I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was like the first week of December, and we just got finished. Or it was actually, oh, it was right before league. Sorry. So it was like our last tournament before league started, and um, that sucked. I remember I was miserable. And what sport activity were you participating? So I was playing basketball, and this was back when I was over at Oxnard College, and um, I was. Oh, I'm just gonna like talk into this, like it's the question. So, whatever. How intensely were you training when you burned out? How did you feel physically at this time, and how did you feel psychologically at this time? So we were training like every day, and then we were traveling to East Los Angeles College for a tournament. And I think honestly, it was like I'm the type of athlete where I practice for practice and I practice for games. So I don't ever want to be, I don't want to, like for my regular practices with the team, I would practice for that because I didn't want to walk in there and, not be on top of my game and then think that I can't play in the following, and then in the game that we have next because of how I perform during practice. And I do understand you're going to have like bad practices and whatnot, but, I was usually on top of my game for it. But I think I was just burnt out because, I was older at the time, and I was probably like 3 years older than all the girls that were playing, and they weren't committed, and I was putting in all this effort to, to play and to do great. And we were, when we went into that tournament, I was like pumped. I was like, let's go. Like, I want to win this tournament. And, everybody wasn't really like on the same page. And it was that next game, I was frustratedly playing because I thought I needed to carry the team on my back. And I was just pushing myself. And I didn't get a sub back in the college days. Like, I played 40-minute games. And so I actually ended up fouling out for the first time in my whole basketball career. And so when I did that, I had to get subbed out. And when I walked out, I started hyperventilating, and I like went down to the ground, and my husband was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And it was just that I was burnt out, and like I was trying so hard to be so good, and I couldn't do that. And that, it's not even that. Like, basketball is not an individual sport. Like, I needed my team to be there, and sadly they weren't. But that's not the point of the story. The point was that I got burnt out, and the next game I didn't even want to play, and obviously I did, but it was probably like the worst game I've ever had in my life. And psychologically at the time, I was just done, and I was like, why am I playing? Why did I come back to play? Like, this is a waste of time, and I'm so stressed out about this. And all I remember during that time was I was cold all the time. There was no way like I could get warm, and every song that I listened to was like a sad song. So I want to say like I was pretty much depressed at that point when I was burnt out. And after that tournament, our coaches gave us like a week off because then it was Christmas and then it was New Year's, and that was exactly like that break that I needed. I needed to recuperate and find my love back again with basketball. And so I did that, and then I came back and I pretty much dominated league, so that was pretty cool. So, relative to questions 4 and 5, how long did you feel this way? So yeah, like I said, that I felt that way during the whole tournament, and then so the tournament lasted probably about like 3 days, and then we got like a week off, and pretty much obviously like I still felt that way during that time because there's nothing that I did like that. Like usually when you have a bad game, your next thing's like, when's my next game, so you can like erase that game basically. And so I didn't have that gap of like I need another game to reassure myself that I'm actually like still good, or that like I still want to do this. But it was like the perfect break that I needed because when I would practice for practice in high school, I practiced outside and then we practiced in the gym. So my shots were horribly off. But basically went back down to my roots and practiced back to being outside and playing in the cold, well, in the mornings, and looking at your air, your breath when it comes out your mouth, like because it's so cold and whatever. It was great, but it eventually went away. Last one, oh yeah, so I would say probably like about a week and a half. Did your symptoms occur suddenly or build up over time? They built up, and what kept me sane for most of the time was we were still, winning some games, and if we were winning games that had a good game, then it was great. If we were losing games that had a good game, I was still alright. But if we were losing games and I was doing bad, that was basically like the onset of it, of like, this is what's going to happen next, like, be aware of it. And, when I was playing semi-pro, I had those types of games and had to build myself up and be like, don't get burnt out. And, luckily I didn't. I ended up just getting injured and not being able to play, but still. I would say that's probably one of my darkest times, is being burnt out, and it's something that I don't ever want to see my players go through. But then again, I do want them to train hard, and I don't want them to be content or settle with the type of skill that they're at this, at whatever they're at right now. I want them to keep building for it, but at the same time, I'm well aware of, my athletes getting burnt out, and it breaks my heart when I see that, because, athletes or teenagers are real dramatic, so they'll go to the greatest lengths if they're burnt out, and they'll just quit. And I hope that's never any of my athletes, but I have seen it happen before. Anyways, can't wait to watch your guys' videos.